Hey guys, how's it going today? Hope we're all doing alright. Back with a brand new video, and for today's video we're going to be going up Pendle Hill. Really excited to make this video. We're going to be talking about the Pendle Witches and everything that pertains to that in terms of the history. We're also going to be talking about werewolves. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please stick around to find out more. I don't know what it is about this place, but I get really big energy from it. And you know, those who know me well, my friends and family, they know that I've really gotten into, like, you know, amethyst crystals and spirituality this year. You know, and you get energy from certain places. We've talked about that before as well on the channel, how nature naturally is very healing for us. We've not even set foot yet on this hill, and I'm already getting really big strong energy vibes from it. So yeah, so Pendle Hill, for those people that don't know, who don't, you know, come from Lancashire, who watch these videos, this place has got a really rich history of, you know, mythology and legend and things like that. You know, there's a lot of wildman sightings around here. There's dogmen sightings around here, which we've not talked about yet on this channel, but we're going to do that today. And also as well, this place has a long, rich history of witches, or supposed witch people, you know, and this is a subject I know absolutely nothing about. I'm a novice on it, quite frankly. So I brought somebody with me today who is a little bit more well informed on the facts of the Pendle Witches. So I'm going to hand you over to her now. So I hope you enjoy what she has to say.
Well, hello everybody. You don't see me much in front of the camera. So I'm Oliver's sister, otherwise his historical consultant for this video. So I'm quite interested in the Pendle Witches. I did my coursework on them when I was at sixth form, and other than that I am just generally really interested in the European witch hunts. So the Lancashire witch trials took place in the summer of 1612. However, the start of the European witch hunts goes back to about the late 1400s, early 1500s, but that's kind of considering all of Europe, not just Lancashire. There are many different reasons why we consider why the witches were prosecuted and why there were all these widespread witch hunts. A lot of people assume that it was a religious thing, and you would be correct in assuming that, but it goes a lot deeper than just saying, oh, they're in league with the devil. At the time, the monarch who had ascended to England at that time was King James VI. He had commissioned his own version of the Bible and added a little subsection called demonology, which had been previously unheard of before, saying how to identify a witch in your neighbouring community, and this sparked a frenzy across England, particularly Lancashire. Now, the reason it being Lancashire is that Lancashire at the time was a predominantly Catholic place, and obviously being a Catholic was bad. Of course now it's a completely acceptable thing. Now, how it happens is that a supposed white witch, which is basically the old word for a nurse, called Alison Devis, was walking along Pendle, and she had asked a guy who was walking called John Hume for some money because she was looking to make some money for her family, because she was very poor, and he had said no, jog on. And next minute, you know, he drops dead on the floor. Now she starts panicking, thinking, oh my goodness, I've hexed him, I've done something. So she goes up to Lancaster where he's been in hospital, and it turns out he probably just had a stroke or something like that, or just sort of a minor heart murmur. However, he then had turned around to her and said, if you tell anybody this, I'm going to go and tell them that you cursed me. So Alison actually lived pretty much on Pendle Hill. She lived in a place called Malkin Tower, which is like a little abandoned farmhouse. It is still here now, but it's sort of in a really kind of obscure little nook. And she had told her family what had happened and said, look, we really need to kind of just keep a low profile. This wasn't good because the Good Friday, the week after it happened, there was a survey in the church, and anybody who didn't turn up would have been assumed that they were practicing witchcraft somewhere else. So the Devis family and the Nutter family, who were a very, very famous family in the witch trials, weren't in church. So the local warden goes round and he finds them all at Malkin Tower. Now he obviously assumes that they're practicing witchcraft, however, they probably just didn't want to go to church. So they were then arrested and taken to Lancaster Castle, where they were taking part in the Lancaster Assizes, which is just another word for a trial. And they were all put to death, bar one. Janet Devis, who was the daughter of the person, had stood up in the court, and she was one of the first children in the history to ever stand up in a legal court. And the judge had asked her and said, "Did you see your mother practicing witchcraft?" And instead of turning around and, you know, realising she had her mother's life in her hands, she said, yes, I did see her practicing witchcraft. Her brother was then brought to the stand, and he said, right, same for this young man. He said, "Did you see him practicing witchcraft at Malkin Tower?" And she said, yes, and sentenced her mother, her brother, and her grandma to death. She was there for the execution at Lancaster Hill, which is actually now known as Gallows Hill. In Lancaster. It's now a children's park, which is a bit ironic, really. But yeah, so that's kind of the sort of basis of it. But if you're wondering what the links are to Pendle Hill, like I said, they literally lived like over the hill. They lived on sort of a really kind of abandoned little farmhouse. As far as them going up the hills and practicing witchcraft, we don't know if that was ever true. Like we say at the time, if you sort of take into the religious and social context, it was probably they were just going for a walk. So that's kind of really it, I think, as the sort of the kind of the grasp of it. So yeah.
Right, so thanks for that, Millie. Some fantastic information there. For those who could be interested, my sister, she runs a very, very popular blog on the internet about the Titanic, which obviously is the famed vessel from 1912 that hit the iceberg and sank. She knows her stuff about that, so I would highly recommend you check that out. Like I said, Millie gave us some great information there, and it's, you know, very, very tragic how that happened. That, you know, Janet Davis, her family grassed her up, you know, and it was actually nothing to do with witchcraft or potions or hexes or things of that nature. You know, so a lot of this, the mythology behind witches and the ideas that have generated over time from it, you know, it's all, a lot of it is mumbo jumbo. You know, these were just people who were a little bit more alternative and a little bit different. So yeah, it's very sad, is that. Oh, Dogmen. Now this is something we've not talked about at all on this channel, and we were going to talk about it at some point. The reality is that I don't really know much about dogmen. I'm aware of them, you know, I know a little bits about them, but you know, my sort of realm of expertise within British paranormal activity is obviously wild men, Bigfoot. Now, what is a dogman? Well, it's basically a werewolf, and if you don't know what a werewolf is, what are you doing on this channel? You know, you should really know what a werewolf is. Now, I think the reason that they don't call them werewolves is because obviously Hollywood has just badgered that concept to death. A dogman essentially is part man, part dog, and there's a lot of sightings of them around here. And I knew two people who claimed to have seen them around here, so we'll talk about that a little bit more now. So let's go. So the first encounter that I'm aware of dogmen from someone that I know who knew wasn't actually around here, but this is where my interest in the subject came from. And it was down in Cannock Chase, which is a very large forest in the Midlands that is also very well known for its, you know, paranormal phenomena, in particular dogmen. And this bloke who I knew, he was a mechanic, and he was driving down that way of the country on a job. And upon leaving wherever it was that he was working, he reversed into a little lay-by farm gate. And when he checked his rear view mirror, there was a great big field out behind him. There was a forest backdrop. And what he saw, he said that he saw a large dog. But this dog stood up on two legs, like a person. just perfectly stood up and looked at him, and obviously that was enough for him. He pumped the brakes and off he drove. But he always swore to me that's what he saw that day. So who knows what it could have been. Last time I walked up here, about 6 years ago, and I'm considerably more unfit than now, sorry, than I was back then. To be honest with you, it's not actually that bad coming up here. Do you have anything to say about it?
Well, I don't know how the Pendle Witch has walked up here in the dresses and stuff, because it's raining.
What about your friend Wallace Hartley?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. So as Oliver very kindly gave me a shout out, which is very kind of you, thank you. And my main thing is the Titanic, and talks and workshops, and I also run a blog on the Titanic. And
I'll leave the descriptions down below.
Thank you. And Titanic actually has quite a few connections with Lancashire that do tend to get overlooked quite a lot. The most famous being Titanic's band leader Wallace Hartley. He was born in Corn, which is like, I think it's, which way is it? Is it like over there?
It's just over yonder.
Yeah, it's not far away at all. And he's actually buried there, so you can go and visit his grave today. And he grew up in Corn, and obviously Pendle Hill is not that far away at all, as I mentioned. Wallace Hartley used to come walking up Pendle Hill, which I think is absolutely, it does boggle my head a bit, does that? Sort of thinking that the Titanic is so close to home. And yeah, like I said, there are a couple of other connections with Lancashire, but that is kind of the nearest one to here. But yeah,
brilliant.
So that's a bit of a Titanic connection for you.
We should crack on.
I think we should, yeah.
Dogman sighting around here that I wanted to talk about. I'm guessing it happened here. But again, it was some people I used to know, and they themselves were very into, you know, spiritualism, the amethyst crystals like what I've just spoken about. And they also like to do what they called witchcraft. Now, I didn't really know much about it. I didn't really ask about that, because as I said, I don't know much about things like that. They came up here on a nighttime walk to do some witchcraft, we'll say, or whatever. And they saw a four-legged creature appear from nowhere, running full belt across these fields. There was no sheep about, and they said that it was too big to be any dog that they knew, but it looked like a dog. So was it some kind of werewolf? Who knows? We're on our way back down now, and obviously, you know, we're coming to the end of this video. And one of my theories that I've had for quite a long time about Pendle Hill and why there's such a rich history of mythology and legends around here is because it is very high up. You know, it's 4,000 feet above sea level. And Billings Wood, where obviously that's where I do most of my videos anyway. On a clear day, you can see Pendle Hill from Billings Wood, like from the top of Billings Wood. So I wonder if werewolves, you know, dogmen, wild men, even UFOs, if they use this place as some kind of conduit, you know, it's like a marker in the terrain that they've known about for as long as they've been here. And they all, you know, they'll go into Billings, the wild men, and then they'll see Pendle in the distance and they know that's the next stop where they need to get to in order to be able to survey the land. Could be. Something to think about anyway. Right guys, we've done it. We've done it.
Yay!
We got to the top, got swept up by the rain, and then we came back down. Please give us your love, like this video, comment if you want, subscribe if you haven't, Otherwise, she'll probably never do this again.
I'll be giving you a Titanic talking to if you don't subscribe.
There you go, you heard her. No, seriously, it's been nice to have some company today on this video. And yeah, we'll be back soon again. So, see you all further on down the line. Bye bye.